It was a quiet evening at the dispatch center. The usual calls trickling in. Minor incidents, nothing too serious. Emily, a seasoned 911 dispatcher, had grown familiar with many of the voices in her area, especially in the more rural parts of the county. One voice in particular stood out, a frail, elderly woman who, along with her husband, had called a few times before for various medical concerns. Emily knew the couple well enough that she recognized the woman's voice immediately when it came through that evening. The woman was struggling to breathe, her words heavy with effort. Emily's heart tightened. Without hesitation, she dispatched an ambulance, but the nearest unit was about 15 minutes away. It was a long wait for someone in respiratory distress, especially in such a remote corner of West Virginia. Emily stayed on the line, trying to keep the woman calm. They talked about her husband. "How's he doing?" Emily asked, her voice gentle. "He's not well," the woman answered between breaths, but the conversation seemed to ease the tension just a little. Minutes passed slowly, but eventually the ambulance arrived. Relieved, Emily told the woman, "They're at the door now. Go answer it." The woman responded with a soft, "Okay," and hung up. Everything seemed to go as planned. But then, just a minute later, Emily's phone rang again. It was the paramedics, sounding confused. "No one's answering the door," they said. Emily's brow furrowed. That didn't make sense. She had just spoken to the woman moments ago. How could she not be answering? She called a nearby sheriff's unit for backup, and soon the sheriff arrived on scene. After confirming the address, the sheriff decided to breach the door. 5 tense minutes passed. Then the paramedic's voice came back on the line, this time with a strange question. "Who made the call?" he asked. Emily blinked, puzzled. "It was the elderly woman who lives there," she replied. "Why?" There was a long pause before the paramedic's voice came back, quieter now. "You need to get your supervisor on the line." Emily's pulse quickened. Something wasn't right. She patched the paramedic through to the supervisor, who confirmed all the details. And then the shocking revelation came. The woman inside the house had been dead for hours, already in full rigor mortis. Emily's stomach dropped. "But she just called," she stammered. She had spoken to her, heard her voice, held a conversation. The paramedics, the sheriff, and even the doctors at the hospital were in disbelief. There was no way, and yet it had happened. The other dispatchers played back the recording. It was unmistakable. The elderly woman had called for help after she was already gone. That night, Emily sat in stunned silence, grappling with the impossible. She had just taken a call from a ghost.